Okay, so to begin sewing, I'm going to thread my needle just as we did for the paper quilt. So I'm going to put my first color embroidery yarn in, have the ends line up, and then make my loop. So I have my loop, and then put the ends through and tie. Once again, you could do a single knot. That should be fine for the felt, but I'm just going to do a double knot just to be safe. Okay, so now my thread is looped through my needle. And you won't need your thread after this project. This will be the final project that we use for the thread. So if you end up using, all of it, that's fine. If you have some left over, you can use it for, if you want to use it for yourself. But you can, but just so you know, we're not going to be using the thread anymore after this. You will be using the yarn that's in your project, but that's for another day. So I'm going to sew my first shape on my felt, and you want to have kind of an even amount of whip stitch and running stitch, just like you did for your paper quilt. So I'm going to lay my shape on top of my felt, and I'm going to start from the back, just like I did, pull through. Okay, and this is going to be the whip stitch, so I'm going to go out to the edge. And the felt will be a little bit, have a little bit more thickness in the paper. So you want to just make sure that you kind of go through pretty, you want to kind of be a little bit more tenacious in terms of like doing your sewing. So up through the back, out the edge. All right, so up through. Once again, this is all on the back, so you don't see any of this with your finished pillow. And if you want to do stitching inside of your shape, you could do that. Like, you could do some decorative stitching if you wanted to. If you want, so I'm gonna now like turn the corner here. So I'm just gonna go up to this side and out. And this probably won't be enough thread to go all the way around this particular shape. So I'll probably have to stop it, knot it off in kind of like the middle, and then continue on. Make sure that your stitches are kind of pulled tightly, right? You want to make sure that they are really tight because this will matter. Your shapes will kind of flop off if they are not sewn on well. So all right, so I'll finish this blue string and then show you how to knot it off in the back. It'll be very similar to the pillows. You need to get all of your shapes sewn on both sides of your pillows first, and that'll be your second process shot. All right, so this is too short to continue on, so I'm going to end in the back, flip it over. I'm going to cut my thread on the loop, so just like this. All right, so I have two pieces here, and I'm just going to knot them. And your knot should be in the back. And I can just trim my extra. All right, so that shape isn't done yet. So I'm going to use my second color of thread and knot it. I'll show you about knotting it again. Though after you did your paper quilt, this should be pretty straightforward. If you have extra thread left over from your paper quilt and you want to use that as well, that's fine. So you could have up to as many as 4 colors for your pillow if you ended up with a lot of extra thread left over from your quilt. So All right, so I'm going to bring my ends together, and I'll do the running stitch with this yellow thread. And likewise, too, if you want to buy your own thread and kind of have like a lot of colors to choose from, that's your choice. All right, so take my two ends, wrap them around my finger, push it through, pull, and then do the same thing again. Take my two ends, wrap it around, take the end, pull. And they didn't end up together. They're a little bit apart, so I'm going to do a third one because I want one kind of like big knot. There you go. All right, so same thing. Start from the back, and I'm going to do a running stitch this time. And then I'm just going to go right down into my shape. So instead of going out to the edge. And then I'm just going to turn the corner. Now, if you wanted to, and this is just, if you want to kind of use your pillow for other things, you could sew only, like three sides of a shape, and you could make it like a little pocket. So that would be another kind of like decorative thing if you wanted to have one of your shapes where you don't sew like one of the top edges. You could actually have like a pocket in your pillow, and you could put, you know, your earbuds in there or something like that. This is a lot of string left over. So I'm actually going to use it again, but I just want to show you how to nut it off. So once again, cut it. I have my two sections and knot it in the back. All right, so that's the whip stitch and the running stitch on my first shape. And I'm going to finish sewing the shapes onto my first side of my pillow, and then I'm going to have the shape sewn on my second side of my pillow, and I'll take my process shot, and then I'll show you how to put it all together.